Sup Flare Squad, welcome back to another explained/theory video. Today we're going to talk about J-Hope's outro Ego comeback trailer. Before jumping in, let me explain what ego is. Remember that BTS's Map of the Soul is inspired by the book Jung's Map of the Soul. According to Carl Jung, the ego is the organizer of our thoughts and intuitions, feelings and sensations, and has the access to memories which are not repressed. The ego is the bearer of personality and stands at the junction between the inner and outer worlds. Ego has access to memories, which is why the music video is a journey going through J-Hope's memories. The video starts with their debut trailer.
We're now going to progress to some steps which are a bit more difficult.
We then enter the BTS universe and is brought all the way to the beginning as they flash newer music videos all the way to their debut music video, No More Dream. We're then shown J-Hope in a white setting similar to the room J-Hope was in during his Mama short film, which is later filled with animations representing his dream world, aka Hope World, aka unconsciousness. We're now about to dive into J-Hope's ego and his memories as he says, "I go back every day to the me of the past." This connects with J-Hope's actual life experience, but could also connect to his fictional character in the BTS universe storyline. If you want to learn more about BTS's storyline, I did make a summary video and link will be in my description box. In this dream world, you'll find him always going down a path. You know, like a trip down memory lane kind of thing, but then he ends up touching his head and falling over. So this event could be linked to their storyline where Hoseok is supposedly diagnosed with narcolepsy, a chronic sleep disorder that causes overwhelming daytime drowsiness, and narcolepsy causes sudden attacks of sleep. Sudden loss of muscle tone and hallucinations might occur. But if you want to dive deeper into the storyline, there's actually a twist. We find out that J-Hope was actually diagnosed with Munchausen syndrome, a mental disorder in which a person repeatedly or deliberately acts as if he or she has a physical or mental illness when he or she is actually not really sick. He developed this disorder after being abandoned by his mother at the theme park when he was young. So after collapsing, he wakes up in the hospital, which could represent him being conscious. And this scene is also similar to the Save Me webtoon, a webtoon of their storyline created by Big Hit, which I'll also link in the description box. But then they end up using an AED and he's back to being unconscious and in his dream world once again. So we're back on the road, and this time in a vehicle with the license plate BTS 13613, which is their debut date, going down Highway 7. You'll notice a bunch of block letters around him forming words such as ego, hope, myself. Yes, you see the word self. Now this could link to one of my theories about another album releasing hopefully this year, and the series could be called Self. Right now with BTS, we are currently going through Carl Jung's process of individuation. For those who don't know the process, let me go over it real quick. Individuation means the realization of self, which is actually what BTS is going through right now in the storyline. The individuation process begins with becoming conscious of the persona, the mask we take on in our everyday life. After we become conscious of the shadow, the repressed characteristics of the ego, then we become conscious of the anima, the inner woman in each man, or animus, the inner man of each woman. Then the image of the old wise man or old wise woman appears, after which the experiences of self happens. Now, the wise old man can appear in many forms, such as a king, a savior, a hero. So the last is self. I mean, the boys wouldn't leave us hanging and not complete the process, right? So a lot of Easter eggs flash when the chorus hits, and each could connect, such as the galaxy, the colored droplets, the fireworks, which could also be found in the storyline, the spotlight representing his stage persona, Abbey Road referencing the Beatles. And I'm not really sure what this could be, but this reminded me of the flower petals we always see. Then a scene of J-Hope comes up with him holding a cake, which again connects to his memories in real life, but also the storyline. What's with the cake though? In the storyline, the cake is a symbol of a positive attitude. At the magic shop, J-Hope traded in a candy bar, which symbolized his fear and scar after being abandoned at the theme park by his mother. She left him a chocolate candy bar, which is why you'll see these in videos such as Fake Love or the Mama film. In return, he got a cake, which also represents his anima, his friend he has danced with for years. He then says, "Life not of J-Hope, but Jung Ho-seok flashes by." Remember that the ego is largely responsible for feelings of identity and continuity. He continues by saying, "It must have been full of regret with no hope till I die. My dancing was chasing ghosts, blaming my dream, asking why I live and breathe." So he's acknowledging his past struggles. At first it seems as if he's blaming his dream for the reason of him experiencing all these hardships, but it's deeper than that. For example, people have been moved to find the child within. This is nothing less than the recognition that the person he was as a child is the same person he is as an adult. The essential core of the ego does not change over a lifetime, which could explain why we see baby pictures of Hobie. Then he says, "Oh my God," and he repeats the word God as images of gods pop up. The first one is Odin, a widely revered war god in Germanic mythology. Second is Mithras, an ancient Indo-Iranian mythology, the god of light. Jupiter, aka Zeus in Greek mythology, which is the god of the sky and thunder. Then Ra or Re, an ancient Egyptian god of the sun. I mean, we do see Hobie as our sunlight and sunshine, so that could connect. But what else is linked to the gods? Well, we know Carl Jung took myths seriously and incorporated it into his research. Note that Jung also said the self might equally be called God within us. The scene switches back to J-Hope on the road again, and we notice the clock, 1:24. I'm sure this means something. The only thing that I could really think of is the clock and the time during J-Hope's Mama short film when it was 1 p.m. Maybe 1:24 could mean that we've now moved on since 1 p.m. and we're either in the future or the present, and 1 p.m. was the past. Time goes by, and 7 years of anguish come out finally. Oppressions all resolved. Into my heart come answers from my most trusted. So after all the years of hard work, they made it, and their mental or physical pain is finally out, and the unjust treatment is resolved. His heart has the answers, which is why J-Hope says, "Just trust myself." These lyrics are deep and expressive. He's now able to open up about his hardships and confidently say that he has come to understand and accept himself. Trust himself. You'll see him walk past a shop which was first called Hope Records, which changed to Hope's Record. I don't know if they did that intentionally, it means something. And pictures of his mixtape songs and the old BTS albums are shown in front of the shop. And yes, the chickens, which most likely refers to chicken noodle soup. J-Hope then finally lets go of the umbrella, which could represent multiple things such as protection. An umbrella could also be linked to the storyline. Then he approaches Jay's tailor, which refers to Kingsman, which they tweeted back in March 31st, 2015. They have been kind of hinting this. They also recently had a stage with this concept as well. But also, there is an actual place called Jay's Tailor. Jay, the owner of Jay's Tailor and Cleaner, has an inspiring story. And how does this connect? Well, Jay's story is about overcoming oppression of the past and moving forward. Both Jay and J-Hope started at the bottom and started working their way up to become successful and to be where they're at now. Alright, so now we're inside the shop and there are a lot of Kingsman references. Notice the similar wallpaper, just the whole set, actually. And as he looks into the mirror, this is J-Hope confronting his ego. Here's a quote from Jung's Map of the Soul. By virtue of having an ego, this built-in mirror within consciousness, we can know that we are and what we are. Now he's ready to go deeper into his unconsciousness, which we see as he enters a maze which is similar to the Young Forever music video, and drives down the road but in the opposite direction. Instead of following the signs saying future, follow your dream, we're heading the other way. This symbolizes us going back to the past, where the future meets the past. Now remember the Mama VCR for 2019, we were given the Map of the Soul Journey to Myself. Future meets past, past meets present, and present meets future, eternal journey. It's called an eternal journey because it's similar to a mandala. For Carl Jung, a mandala is a graphical representation of the center, which is the self, and this maze could also represent the mandala. We are on a journey to find ourselves, which could take a lifetime and feel like eternity since it's a continuous journey of the future meeting the past, past meeting the present, and present meeting the future. We're going down memory lane to reflect on our past fears, scars, regrets, struggles, in order to learn and grow from it. From Jung's outlook, the second part of life can represent a turning inward toward a deeper part of ourselves. This inward turn starts the individuation process, which we talked about earlier. Individuation means becoming an individual, and insofar as individuality embraces our innermost, last, and incomparable uniqueness. It also implies becoming one's own self. We could therefore translate individuation as coming to selfhood or self-realization. Before we end the video here, I do want to give out some bonus notes. The colors red and green and the water below J-Hope reminds you of blood, sweat, and tears. And also when J-Hope was sitting on the roof of the car in the city, this also brings us back to the scene in Spring Day. But yes, that's all I have for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to click that like button and also join the Fleur Squad by subscribing, you guys. Thanks for watching.